Hello everyone, it's Sean from TaekwondoSean.com, and today we're going to be covering the back turning kick, the Dwi Dollyo Chagi, the spinning back hook kick. All right, check it out. All right, now before we start, let me just make a disclaimer here. I'm one of the only people in the world that calls it a back turning kick, besides the Koreans, okay? Because in Korean it's called Dwi Dollyo Chagi. Dwi means back, Dollyo means turning, and Chagi means kick. So the literal English translation is back turning kick. But a lot of people like to call it the spinning hook kick, the back hook kick, and all those things because that is a little bit more descriptive of what it actually is. However, because we're trying to be traditional, I'm going to keep calling it the Dwi Dollyo Chagi, or when I say it in English, I'll call it the back turning kick in this video. All right, let's go over the applications of the back turning kick. So in sparring, Kyorugi, competitive sparring, it is for head kicks. It's spinning to the head, so it gets even more kicks. I think it's the maximum is 5 points, at least right now. It changes pretty often. But you get the most amount of kicks for a back turning kick to the head. And the back turning kick to the head, if it's strong enough and you hit with the heel, you might even cause the knockout. So it's a pretty spectacular kick in sparring. Now, as far as demonstrations go, it's very versatile as well. You can have multiple back turning kicks where you just keep doing back turning kick as quickly as possible. You can have 2 people doing back turning kicks, taking turns. There's jump back turning kick, 1 leg up back turning kick. There's the 540 kick. All sorts of things you can do with the back turning kick as you progress and evolve it further and further and further. And then in self-defense, as long as you don't kick too high, as long as it's not too flashy, it can be very effective. All right, there's a lot of sweeps with the back turning kick where they go down low and they do the back turning kick on the ground. And the back turning kick can also be used as a takedown technique if you keep it low and attach the calves together and take them down over it. So there's lots of applications for this kick. Let's dive right in. All right, now let's get warmed up with some exercises to kind of get the blood flowing and get the muscles limber. So I'm gonna use my chair here. You can use whatever you need for support. And we're gonna do multiple front turning kicks. We spoke earlier about back turning kicks, but now we're going to do multiple front turning kicks. So I turn, I make sure my heel's pointing at the target, I open up my body, I can even grab my ankle and stretch it out a little bit before I start. Now if you want a little bit more about the front turning kick, check out my video about it. Now back to back turning kick. From here, I'm going to point my knee at the target, 1, bring it back. Make sure it's full extension, full recoil, bring it back, almost like you want to try and kick your butt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you can switch your legs, do the other side 10 times, point my heel, open up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then go back, and we do 20, and then we do 30, and then we do 40. Now I like to go up to 40 because it gives you an even 100. And usually by about 30, your muscles are smoked. So do it and warm up, and then we'll get on with the kick. All right, another warm-up exercise I like to do is the sideways leg swings. We've seen this a lot in my other videos. It's one of my favorite warm-ups because it really gets the hip full range of motion both ways. So in order to do that though, you gotta make sure that this foot crosses over the supporting leg into the negatives. And then back up as positive as high as you can. Negative, positive, good. Swing it in its full range of motion. Good, as many times as you need on both sides. All right, now that we're warmed up, as usual, we're gonna take it to the ground and start there. So we can really isolate just the kicking technique, and then we'll build it up. All right, so on the ground today, we're gonna do on all fours, just like the back kick, and then we're gonna do a hook kick. What I usually tell the other practitioners when we're teaching and training this kick is you imagine that back kick fell in love with hook kick. And then they got married, and they had a baby, and that baby is back turning kick. All right, now you'll see why. As we go down onto all fours here, get a nice stable stance. I'm gonna look over my shoulder, and then from here, I'm going to bring my knee up. Now it's very important that I have my knee, my hip, and my ankle all on the same level. And then from here, I'm going to extend, just like the hook kick, on one side of my target, kick until it's underneath, and then through, and then recoil. And then I do it again. So from here, look, bring it up, all 3 points on my leg, the same level, and then I extend, set my target, through and back, and recoil. Now remember, it's very important to keep the legs straight, at least for traditional or board breaking because you have more ability to engage the gluteus maximus, your biggest muscle group in the body. Now, if you guys are doing sparring, it's better to hook as you guys are coming through, because just like the Jericho missile in the Iron Man movies, it's one missile, and as it gets close to its target, it explodes into a bunch of little missiles. Same principle. In sparring, if I extend and my kick's already coming this fast, and then on top of that, I hook, it becomes much faster for sparring, if that makes sense. So there's lots of ways to do this kick, but today we're going to cover the traditional way. So we're going to try and keep our legs straight before, during, and after. Let's check it out. All right. Ooh. All right, now as we stand up, it becomes much more interesting because we can add the entire motion of this kick, because it's not just the kicking technique like a lot of the other kicks. There's a pre-step, there's all sorts of things we have to do in the back turning kick. All right, so let's check it out. So when I'm performing the back turning kick, the Dwi Dollyo Chagi from standing up, I have my Kyorugi chumbi, my sparring stance. Now from here, I'm going to pre-turn like this. So from here, I pre-turn. Now remember, this is not sparring. Sparring, I don't want to give away any tips of what's going to happen. I don't want to turn my butt as I'm coming towards them, because then they know what's coming, right? But this is more, I'm demonstrating or I'm training in the class, and I want to perfect this technique, this demonstration style. So from here, I'm going to pre-turn my body like a spinning top, like a Beyblade, and then I let it rip. I turn, and I'm going to use my upper body speed to perform the kick. Now as I turn, I'm going to put both hands on my chair, and I'm going to look over my shoulder, because we know how that martial arts creed goes. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Very important. So from here, my eyeballs hit the target first. I bring up my knee, my ankle, my hip are all the same. They're on the same line. And then I point at my target. I'm going to extend on one side, underneath, after, recoil, and then I could put it down in front, or I could prefer to put it behind me. That's a personal choice. I like to put it behind me after the back turning kick. Okay? So from here, I pre-turn, here, grab the chair, look, up, all the same level, extend through the target, bend, and then put your leg back behind you. All right, let's practice. Make sure you guys practice both legs, because Taekwondo is all about learning about yourself and your body and how you use it. And at least for me, when I practice both legs, I found my right leg was faster and my right leg was stronger, but my left leg going way higher and looked way more fluid. Go figure. All right, so we've done it a lot with the chair, and now we feel like we're able to do it without the chair, standing up. So let's break it down again while we're standing. From here, I want to make sure I have my sparring stance. I'm going to pre-turn my body. I'm going to turn so my head points at the target, and then from here, my heel of my supporting leg is already pointing at my target. Check. I bring my knee up, my foot pointing at the target, ankle, knee, hip, all the same level. Check. I put my arm out. Now remember, this is only when I'm practicing. Put my arm out, check. Extend on one side, underneath, after, bend, and put it down. Now remember, these are a lot of steps, so you got to practice enough that each of those steps kind of blend into the other one, and then we can put the kick together faster and faster. So again, step one, turn. Step two, up. Step three, extend. Step four, kick through. And step five. All right, let's practice, practice, practice. All right, now one warning with the back turning kick, you don't want to let your knee dip below your foot. So when you're doing the back turning kick, we don't want to let our knee dip below. This could cause injuries. It's not the correct posturing for the kick. And we want to make sure that we practice Taekwondo for a long time. All right, this is a lifelong endeavor. So having good posture, having proper technique, having good structure is all very important to making Taekwondo a lifelong thing instead of a when I was young thing. All right, so now that we got the kicking technique down, let's look at two exercises that I like to do to help bring up the power and speed of our back turning kick, our Dwi Dollyo Chagi. Check it out. All right, so first of all, we have the glute bridge. Now this one's very good because it focuses on the lower back, the core, the glutes, the quads, hip flexors, is everything. This is like an all-in-one stretch, just kind of like the butterfly. So from here, I'm gonna get into my bridge stance, and I'm gonna lift my hips off the ground. And then from here, I'm gonna try and bring my feet closer to my body. And then come a bit higher. And then closer to my body. And then push myself up as high as I can. And a little bit closer until you can't come any closer. And you push as high as you can. Good, now you feel it in your quads. You feel it in your butt. It's a good exercise for all the muscle groups that are involved in the back turning kick. All right, so the glute bridge, but there's also the split squat. Now for this one, you're gonna need a chair or a bench or a sofa or something that can hold one leg up while you squat on the other leg. Now in Taekwondo, all kicks involve single leg strength. So any kind of single leg exercise you guys can do, like the squat or the lunge, where you isolate one leg and then the other, is gonna improve the balance of the supporting leg and also the striking leg, the kicking leg. Okay, so if you have the choice between like a 2-leg squat or a split squat or a pistol squat. In Taekwondo, it's probably better to isolate because you want to build up the stabilizers, because unlike other weightlifting exercises and stuff where you can be on both legs most of the time, with Taekwondo and all the kicking that we do, we're going to be on one leg or shifting our weight quite a lot. And so the stabilizers from the single leg exercises are so important. So remember, if you have the choice, isolate. Single leg exercises. All right, also compound. Compound's better than super isolated exercises. But anyway, we'll get into that in another video. So, single leg split squats. From here, I'm gonna put one leg on the chair. I'm gonna make sure I have a good distance away from the chair. Yeah, this is good. As I go down, I make sure my knee does not pass my toes. I go deep enough that I feel the good squeeze, and then I come back up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. You can do 10 times, 12 times, 20 times, whatever you guys want to do. Just make sure you do both legs. Put foot on the chair, good distance away. Test it out, find the area that works good for you, and start going. All right, so we've gone through exercises, warm-up exercises, the kick. So the last thing is going to be the stretches. Super important in martial arts. Because our body doesn't do this every day. We're meant for walking straight, running straight, going upstairs, sitting on a chair. Our hips are actually not engaged as much during the day as other muscles. So when we're doing kicks like this kind of kick, back turning kick, front turning kick, pretty much every kick in Taekwondo, we need to make sure that our hips are stretched. Otherwise, there could be injury. We're going to start with the standing lunge. So from here, I want to make sure my knee doesn't pass my toes. It sits on top, almost like a front stance up could be. And then I have my back leg behind me. I'm going to try and keep it straight and keep my heel off the ground so I engage all my hips. My chest is all pointing forward, everything's squared. And then from here, I'm going to put the pressure down and sit down into the stretch. Now, I can feel it here in my hip flexors. You can feel it in your butt. You can feel it in your quads, your hamstring. This is a good one for the back turning kick. Good, other side. Good, now, if you're gonna use this to teach a class or you're an instructor and you wanna use this, especially with kids, you gotta do something to pass the time, otherwise it's just you looking at yourself in the mirror or looking at the students. So you can say some jokes like, what's a chicken's favorite part of Taekwondo? It's the high bok. All right, good. On to the next stretch. All right, the next stretch is another on the ground stretch. It's going to be the reclined hip stretch. Okay, so you're going to lie on your back, you're going to grab your leg, cross them, and then pull them in towards each other. This is going to be a really good stretch. All right, so we lie down. We want to make sure our tailbone is pushing through to the ground the entire time. And then I'm going to cross my leg, pull it up, and grab my leg that's furthest from me, not the leg that's crossed, the other leg. And then I'm going to pull it gently towards me and feel that nice stretch. Good. Make sure you do both sides. Now, as I said earlier, make sure you feel your tailbone on the ground. Otherwise, you could be missing out on some vital stretching points. All right, so there we have it, the back turning kick, the Dwi Dollyo Chagi. Now, this kick is one of the fastest kicks in Taekwondo, one of the strongest kicks by virtue of its speed. Now, it's useful in sparring and Kyorugi. It gets maximum points. So not only head kicks, but spinning head kicks, knockout potential, demonstrations. It's good as it is. It's also good when you do it multiple times, when you evolve it into the 540 or the one leg up back turning kick, all those sort of things. It's also good for self-defense, but remember, if you're gonna make your self-defense really complicated, it means that the other person who's just going with simple might actually defeat you. So you wanna make sure that if you're in a self-defense situation, sometimes the easiest, simplest things to do are the best. The straight punch, the front kick. Wow! Whatever you need to do to be safe. Don't try and make it spectacular so you can talk about it with your friends later. Just get out of there safe and sound. All right? So train hard. This is a very rewarding Taekwondo kick, the back turning kick. And then we'll see you guys in the next video. All right? Train hard. See you on the mats. Are all spectacular and the advanced